Knobcon 2019. In this installment of my top 3 best of type of event video, I wanted to give it a theme, only because during the event I had one of those, whoa, it's 2019 and technology's kinda crazy right now. So for this video, the theme is going to be bang for buck. Basically the amount of features or tech and specs that you get for the amount of money that you pay. Alright, let's get into it. Okay, so these are technically in no particular order, but one of them was definitely a standout item for me, which I'll save for the end, so stick around. First up, of course, the Hydra synth by ASM. Straight out of Eastfield, this synth hit the market like a plague. I don't know if it was just me, but I couldn't escape this synth. It was being talked about everywhere, and for good reason. Now, to be fully transparent, I do technically have this synth in my possession, but I didn't get much time with it before Knobcon, and while at Knobcon, I realized that I liked it a lot. Now, this might be painful for some to hear, but it reminds me a lot of my Oberheim expander, just in terms of modulation. Coming in at $7.99, you get a desktop synth that doesn't need a keyboard to be played. You can just utilize the pads on the desktop unit, and they have polyphonic aftertouch. And the sound, it's pretty good. It's all digital, and at times you can kind of taste it, but it makes up for that in terms of flexibility. You get a ton of wavetables, a really cool wave scan mode for this wild wave manipulation, a video on that later. Tons of modulation routing that's actually super easy to do, easy to understand UI, great visual feedback with the knobs and the LEDs so you don't get those weird random jumps of values when performing live. They're kind of endless encoders, so if the filter is at 22 but the previous patch was at 100, you don't have to worry about wiggling the knob and having 22 jump to 100. Big plus, I love that. It's also got some pretty good sounding effects, and I mean, it comes with rack ears in the box, so you can rack it up if that's something you're into. And just for the sake of time, I'll make another video on reasons why I really like this synth, but trust me, this thing has so much to offer for the price point. Next up is something I apparently can't really talk about, but I'm going to anyway because it was on a table and it was there and I saw it and played with it. And this is going to be the Pico System R3 by Synths. Gertz from Synths was showing me a bunch of cool stuff on this thing. It's a complete all-in-one semi-modular box and a perfect starter for those looking to get into modular. Coming in at €450 for the desktop, it'll also be available in a 42 HP Eurorack module for $400. So if you're in the market for, a semi-modular to modular synth for around $400 to $500, this one definitely takes the cake compared to others. It's right behind me, isn't it? That said, for the price point, you get a ton of stuff. Just to name a few, you get 2 VCOs, one of which is a cool wave shaper that morphs from pulse to triangle but still allows for pulse width modulation, 2 VCAs, 2 low-pass gates that can either be gates or filters that resonate an insane amount, aka another VCO, a 4-step sequencer, a really good sounding bucket brigade delay, and last but not least, this really cool card system. Long story short, you plug in a card, has pre-routed connections on it, and it gives you an instantly crazy starting point. I love it. It's very Buchla of them. Also, when you buy one of these, it'll come with 5 factory cards and 5 blank cards that you can use to make your own presets. By wiring it up, throw a couple resistors onto the card if you want, and bam, you're good to go. So again, bang for buck. I went ahead and added all these up in modular grid using Pico modules to represent kind of this small case, the Pico System R3, and it came out to $1,300. So you can have it for $400 to $500. Bingo for bucko. Okay, on to my final awesome thing that I needed like yesterday. And by need, I mean really want, but basically need. This is going to be the Argon 8 by Modal. This is the synth I was hoping to get from the Sculpt by Modal, and I wanted to like that synth so bad, but 4 voices at times felt a little limiting, but for whatever reason I still kept thinking about that synth. And actually, I almost went out and bought the Sculpt like a week before Knobcon, but for whatever reason, I decided to wait. Then bam, Argon 8 shows up. Jackson from Modal gave me a solid rundown on the synth, and I instantly fell in love. One of my favorite features was this thing that Jackson was showing off, and man, I hope this makes sense. You can press play, press record, and record the automation of you moving parameters around, like filter or whatever, and then stop that, right? Stop it. And then press play, and it'll play back just the automation because you didn't record in any notes. So while that plays, you can play notes and have your notes kind of be moving around by whatever you recorded in the sequence. And it's like this weird unquantized texture and, I don't know, this organic quality you can get out of the synth. And that's one thing I love, for example, about modular stuff, is that you can kind of separate what's doing what and then try to have this weird clash of happy accidents. Modular Argon 8, you can do some weird freaky shit. To me, Modal nailed it with this one. I almost feel like it was the long con of releasing super expensive, unjustifiable to friends and family synthesizers and then just dangling this one in front of us. And I wish I had one now to show you some sounds, but you know how I do these videos, I just blabber mouth about gear, don't play any sounds because it's not out yet. And yeah, and mainly to, you know, get some of you riled up, leave some comments, and get me some engagement. But it sounds really, really good. The voicing has a wild wavetable engine with 120 waves that live in these waveform sets that allow you to morph between positions, if I'm not mistaken. Modal, that's your cue. Leave a comment, clarify. With that, you also get 28 wavetable processors like wave folders, phase shapers, ring modulators, a bunch of manipulation, and I believe more regular wavetable stuff on top of that. The filter is a morphing style filter, very SEM feeling, where you can introduce a little high pass with your low pass and kind of morph anywhere between that. You also get a 512-step sequencer that can be unquantized. Thank you. And the best part about it too is it's a real-time sequencer, so you can have something else clock the Argon, hit record, and play your stuff in right there on the fly and just have it loop back. It has 3 effects engines with swappable effects on the unit, like your typical delay, chorus, phasers, and I want to say, I definitely saw more than that, but I want to say maybe they'll add some cool ones because technically the synth isn't done yet. I don't know, don't listen to me. You also get a ton of I/O on the back, but this is where one huge misstep by Modal was made. You get a MIDI in, you get a MIDI out, and that's it. No MIDI through. No MIDI through. Come on, it's current year. Just throw a MIDI through on there. With that said, you do have full-size MIDI in and out, clock in and out, 1/4-inch stereo outputs, headphone, pedal inputs, audio input for the effects, and USB for connecting to the laptop, which gives you access to their Argon 8 editor. But I don't think I'll need that because while using the synth, I had a super easy time getting around, you know, crafting and sculpting sounds. Get it? Modal. Let me buy the synth already. Oh, and for you key players, it is a Fatar key bed. It is full size and with aftertouch. I don't think it's poly though, but if it is, damn. And another random note, its current design has bamboo wood sides. That's sustainable. I'm always down for a few more years of earth dwelling to play synths. Okay, well, that's it from me. Thanks for hanging out. I appreciate you a lot. And if you want to support the channel, your views are more than enough. Thank you. But if you really got the itch, feel free to check out this website where I got a bunch of synth nerd merch. And don't worry, it's not just my face on a t-shirt or something like that. So until next time, share the love, share the knowledge. Knowledge is power. Peace.